Hi everyone, this is Natasha Rosewood coming back again with the 4th episode of my Facebook Live every Monday at 6:30. And what we're going to be talking about this week is 3 reasons why you should give up so you can get what you really, really want. And that's really important. So I'm Natasha Rosewood. You may know me as a quantum healer, inspirer of intuitive intelligence, and author. That's kind of my new handle. But for many of you that have been around probably longer than I have, or not so long, you know me as a psychic or intuitive spirit healer, a ghostbuster, spirit medium, past life regressionist, and also a teacher of psychic development. And I love doing all those things. And of course, as you can imagine, over 40 years that I've been doing readings, I have been able to help thousands and thousands of people connect to their higher truth and and a better reality. So how are you doing today? How are you feeling? A lot of us aren't checking in with our feelings right now, and our feelings in our heart, in our being, are very, very important. That is where we are vibrating. We're going from the head energy into the heart energy, and we're really expanding this. So it is important that we become aware of our feelings, because as we go out into the world, we're going to be emitting that. We don't have to say a word, we don't have to explain anything, but we are picking up on each other's vibrations, and whatever you're feeling, that expands, because what we focus on expands, and that's what you're giving out, and that's what you're going to attract back to you. So this is why I wanted to talk today very much about what you don't need to do, what you need to let go of, what you need to give up, so we can replace that energy of maybe lower vibrational stuff, even fear, with really great feelings. And if you can't feel happy, at least feel gratitude for what you do have, what you have done in your life. So you can, that's a beginning to get you to those higher levels of vibration and into joy. So giving up sounds defeatist. It sounds like I'm saying, oh, forget it, don't worry. But when clients tell me that they're wanting to manifest something and they say it's not working, or Natasha, you told me this, and it still hasn't come to fruition, there's going to be some energy in the way of that. And that's why we're talking about what we need to give up. What I interpret giving up as is surrendering, letting go, and not stubbornly clinging to an idea or an outcome that we've been really hoping for, because that may not be for our highest good. So the first reason for giving up is give up the idea that you actually are in control. I know that's a nice thought, or maybe not. I prefer not to be in control. I really feel like relieved that I'm not. And it reminds me of when I used to be a flight attendant many years ago, and we'd come into land in all these places around the world, a lot of cities at night. And you'd see, or during the day, and you'd see all these cars rushing somewhere and all these little dots of people running around in their houses or in the cities. And I used to think, gosh, we're like ants, you know, we're just busy, 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 and all we can see is what's in front of us and what's to either side. So when I was in the air and I'm looking down, I could see this bigger perspective. I could see all around and what was in the future, what was in the past, what was on either side. So I think being in a plane and looking down is a bit like our higher intelligence. If we surrender to that being up in the sky, our intuitive intelligence, our higher self, because they have this broader perspective of our lives and what's really going on around us, then we can relax, we can surrender to that, ask for that guidance and trust in it, because they have much more information than we do stuck down here on Mother Earth. So number 2, the reason to give up is the list, to give up the list. Now, as you know, I have my own business and I have a big long list every day of to-dos. And of course, we all need our little list to get us through our daily grind, whatever that is. But what I'm talking about is the list that some of us have had for what we want from the universe or the ideal man or the house. And I'm not saying that doesn't work completely, but I find, and I have found it limiting. So for example, before I met my husband, I had a list for the ideal man. And you know what? It just didn't work. And I thought I kept getting not what I wanted, not what I needed. I met some lovely men, but they weren't obviously my prince. And then I decided, oh, I quit. I gave up the list. And that's when my husband showed up. And he was not, definitely did not have all the aspects that I had written on my list. He was actually maybe a little bit of the opposite. But you know what? It works. It was for my highest good. And this year we'll be celebrating 10 years of having, you know, a wonderful time together. So I trust the universe to choose my man for me. And you can too, just so you know. And I think the reason for that is why it didn't work for me, because when I made the list, I was coming from my ego mind. And as we know, the ego is small and it's all about, ooh, we better be careful and this and that. It's got limitations. And when I let go, I was coming from my intuitive self. And this really reinforces what Einstein said, that we can't solve the problem with the same level of thinking that we created with which we created the problem. So when I let go of the ego and stepped into my higher self, I was definitely plugging into my intuitive intelligence, my higher self, the universe, my spirit guides, and they brought me what was really beneficial for me, which was much, much better. So the next reason to give up is number 3, give up the need to know. And this is a very big one for us in our Western culture, because, and I was brought up in a family like this, you got to do this and you got to do that, and what are you going to do when you grow up, and you've got to know when you're going to show up, and all this kind of thing. So it's our ego minds that are driven to survive. It's what I call the ego pea brain, because it is so small and it's got a lot of fear in it, and it's always concerned with how it looks, or, you know, is there enough, or am I good enough? That's what the ego does. We all need the ego to filter out what comes to us during the day, but we really want to let go of the ego and get into our higher intelligence. And our souls are, while the ego is concerned with surviving, our souls want us to thrive. They want us to express what we came to this earth to express, whether it's art or dancing or being an engineer or an accountant. Whatever floats your boat, whatever you love to do, that's where you're going to thrive and be the happiest. And you're going to emit all those wonderful feelings, and then in turn, that's going to bring great stuff back to you. So I notice how some of my clients, and this is why they come to me, because they say, Natasha, what's going to happen? I don't know. And some of them are in a tailspin of panic because they don't have a definitive time and date when they're going to meet their soulmate, or if they're going to get that job or buy that house. So a lot of my clients, especially now, are saying that they're feeling lost. And that doesn't surprise me, because we've got this big energy moving through, which is really pushing us to transform, wake up, and step up into a big reality. So that can be a little bit scary if you don't know what's going on and you don't know what's on the other side of that. And sometimes we're like deers caught in the headlight, and the ego mind can paralyze us with fear. It's not a comfortable feeling. Some people even feel a sense of shame. And what I like to call this kind of not knowing period in our lives between the old life dying and before the new one begins is, I like to call it the void. And it can be very scary, because it can feel like we're floating out in the universe with not a thing to hang on to. We can feel ungrounded. We don't know anything that happened. But what I'm suggesting to people is, if you get into the adventure of the void, maybe see the void as a resting place. Maybe you need time to grieve. Maybe you want to read some of those books. Maybe you should really be going on a holiday. Let the ego mind stop telling you what you should be doing, and let the higher self say, what do you feel like doing? Do you want to sleep all day maybe? Do you want to go and do something completely different and work in a Starbucks? or go be a flight attendant. Just let the feeling of love and loving what you do and feeling free come through you, and that feeling will guide you towards what's coming up next for you. I like to think of being in the void as like baking a cake. So, you know, we all want our results. We want to know, we want a result. So I go into the kitchen and I put all the ingredients together and I follow the recipe and I turn on the oven, put it at the right temperature, put the cake in the oven, set the timer, and ideally I go sit in the living room, watch a movie or go and do something else, go for a walk. But what a lot of us do, because we don't trust the universe to provide for us, we don't trust in our own abilities, we often go to the oven and keep opening that door going, is it baked yet? Is it baked yet? Is it baked yet? And you know what happens to a cake if you're a baker? If you keep doing that, you're not going to get the result of the cake. You're just going to get a big puddle of liquid batter sitting in this pan in the oven. So because you've run interference and because you've been too attached to the outcome, you've actually ruined the result. So that's why I'm saying give up the need to know. Step into trust, step into confidence, and step into gratitude. I always say, thank you, universe, for bringing me this. I'm so excited about this. And I get into the feeling of gratitude and excitement as if that thing, which I don't even have to know what it is, I just need to feel the feeling, because that feeling is going to bring whatever's going to reaffirm that feeling. So if it's going on a trip around the world, so be it. I'm excited, I'm so excited, and then the tickets show up. So you kind of start with the end result and you work backwards from that and let the universe bring it to you. If you're in the feeling and you keep expanding that feeling, you're going to be in great shape. So I'm going to say, if you let go of control, you give up the list, and you surrender the need to know, you can instead choose to feel fantastic. And then when you feel fantastic, fantastic things happen. Thank you for joining me. It's been great speaking with you. And if you would like to see this written out, you can go to my blog, Food for the Soul, natasharosewood.com. If you'd like to see it on LinkedIn, and like I say, there's going to be a small video on YouTube called I think it's called The Power of Surrender. I might have changed the name. So thank you for sending all your hearts and flowers and everything. I'd love to hear your comments. Let me know if this supports you, and if it doesn't, send me a topic that would. Thank you and good night.